Hello there and welcome to today's video. It's completely boiling here in the Clay Disarray studios, so I thought I'd do a pretty quick video on explaining why I don't accept custom arts orders. Firstly, I want to preface this by saying that as an artist, it's always a delight when, anybody is interested in my artwork, and particularly when they'd like to buy a piece of it. It's a complete privilege for any artist out there to have people that actually want to physically acquire their work, really. Basically, the way that I work as an artist is that I take on commercial projects through business and arts agencies, etc. Although admittedly I've had a bit of a quiet year this year through ill health, really, but usually that's how I work. And whenever I'm not working on a commercial project, what I tend to do is just work on my own personal projects, really. And I have a keen interest in pop culture, as you'll know if you're a regular viewer of my channel, and I make polymer portraits, essentially sculptures of well-known people, pop stars, movie stars, TV show stars, that kind of thing. And I also make polymer paintings, and they're either homage pieces to actual well-known pieces of arts, or I've recently started making movie-inspired polymer paintings as well. So yeah, they're just a lovely way of expressing myself as an artist, really, around any commercial work that I've got on. Custom orders, however, are an entirely different kettle of fish, really. When you think about how long it takes me to make a model, for instance, it's usually a minimum of 2 days, and they have been known to go on for about 4 days before now. It's all about whether I'm trying to capture a likeness or the amount of detail involved within the piece, really. And even if you were to consider minimum hour rates, I would need to charge basically hundreds of pounds in order to make a custom model, and that is a big ask of anybody that just happens to find an art shop that they really like and want to buy a piece. That's not to say, however, that I've never taken on custom orders, because in the early days of Clay Disarray, which gosh, is around 10 years ago now, I used to take on the odd commission here and there, and if I'm honest, I think it's a really good way in learning how to work with the clients when you're starting out as an artist, and before you want to work with creative agencies or newspapers or magazines that want to hire you for for instance editorial work. It's a really great way to be able to make somebody's idea come together, if you like, really. Well, certainly getting more experience of that process anyway before you might want to work with more professional establishments, really. I found, however, when I worked on custom orders that gosh, it could be a bit of a nightmare process, if I'm honest. I think when you're working with individual clients, very many of them haven't ever worked with an artist before or commissioned an artist before, so almost they don't know what to expect from the process either. So I would be working on models and getting quite a lot of contact from the commissioner or the person that commissioned the projects, and wanting updates and photos, etc. And when you're working on a piece that you're not even getting minimum wage for, that is really quite stressful. So I just decided that certainly wasn't for me as an artist, and yeah, it made the decision for me clearer that I wanted to work with commercial projects, really, because they've got experience with working with artists, and they pay at a decent rate as well, really. So for me, that was a pretty easy decision, really. And also I remember that I made a few wedding cake toppers as well a few years ago, and that is something that I would never ever do again, because individual clients can be quite stressful to work with, but my golly, brides can be a complete nightmare, or brides to be. I just found the process completely overwhelming, and I had one in particular that, gosh, really turned me off the wedding market completely. She was very particular about what she wanted. She didn't like how the likenesses had turned out. So I had to invest more time into it to, correct whatever she didn't like about the projects. Then when it arrived broken. And I've been sending artwork out for 10 years now, and that is the only instance where that's happened. And, I'm not pointing any fingers of blame, but, that was quite the coincidence, I think. I should mention that I have had some really lovely people commission clay disarray pieces in the past, and they were a complete delight to work with. So I don't want you to think that every person that commissions artwork is a complete nightmare to work with, because that's far from the truth. In fact, most people that I work with were really lovely. It's just, a sad fact that you're going to have one that comes along every now and again that's just a nightmare. So, if you are interested in working directly with people in terms of commissioned work, most people are going to be great. It's just the odd one that's, a bit of a problem. I've also had a question pop up a couple of times now, and I find it a little bit confusing, if I'm honest, but basically it's when somebody's seen an artwork that I've made in the past and it's sold. So they've asked if I can remake the piece because, it should be really easy to reproduce. Excuse me? I don't know, I just find that such a bizarre question almost, because my work is 100% handmade, and every time I make a new model or a new polymer painting, regardless of whether I've made it before, it's like starting with a completely new blank canvas. It's really, really tricky to make. Every piece of mine, I have to really concentrate on it. It takes a lot of time, a lot of thought process, and often a lot of errors on the way. So yeah, I just found that sort of really interesting. Also, because I make pop culture figures, um, very often I've got, quite a good understanding of somebody's face before I start work on them, because, we're surrounded by all this imagery, and, we often see the same faces over and over. But I know that whenever I've had custom orders, they've asked me to make a friend or a family member, and I've never seen these faces before, so these are really, really difficult to make, and even more so, I would say, than pop culture figures. So, when you consider how much time I would need to invest in, researching somebody's face, to watch some video content perhaps over and over, to really study photographs, and to experiment a few times in order to try and get that sort of face come alive, it's a very expensive process, and I don't think people often consider all of that before they make contacts with me. So when you consider how much time and efforts and just kind of headspace a project like that would take, I just found it easier just to say a flat no to everybody, really, than to try and pick and choose jobs, because yeah, it's a difficult process, I have to say. You may well remember that I've made a similar video to this a few years ago now, but because I was on Etsy, it was all about kind of Etsy orders and Etsy sales, and that's no longer relevant because I have my own big cartel store. And yeah, leaving Etsy, I have to say, was one of the best things I've ever done as an artist, because it feels really great to have my own store and to, be the complete boss of that kind of platform. And I haven't got any overlords making any kind of decisions about the shop design, or, what should or shouldn't be in there, or how much or how little I'm promoting it, really. It's, yeah, it feels really good to have my own store, I have to say, and I would heartily recommend it if you're thinking of doing the same thing. So I hope all of that makes sense, and if you are interested at any points in owning a clay disarray piece of art, I have a store where I sell bits and bobs of personal work, so my polymer portraits or my sculptures and polymer paintings, and they're all basically personal projects that I've worked on for various passion projects that I've got. And occasionally I'll sell projects that I've worked on for you know, commercial clients as well, but yeah, they're a lot rarer really. So yeah, I'll leave my store linked below and go and have a peruse if you're interested. And I think that's it for today because I'm getting hotter as the moments go on. I hope you're enjoying summer. I can't say I am actually. I'm way more of an autumn person these days, and yeah, it's just boiling, isn't it? But anyway, have a lovely weekend and I shall see you soon. I'm hoping to do a video or a vlog next week. It's all about how hot it is, to be honest, because it does get kind of unbearable in this room. So I'll have some shorts coming out most days, as I often do. The reason I do them, and I know shorts are a contentious issue, but because of the good old YouTube algorithm, whenever you're not making content, it really does harm your channel. So I've found that just putting out shorts really helps to keep, you know, YouTube kind of engaged with my channel, if you like. So it's a tricky one, I have to say, because I would rather be making long form content, but until the day that YouTube decides to promote it better, I have to do both, unfortunately. But anyway, have a good weekend and yeah, see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.